The masks are coming off, and we are seeing the reality underneath these game journalists and professional traditional media out there, and what they really feel about YouTubers. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And once in a while, a tweet will come through that will just stop me dead in my tracks and make me question everything. Like, I was full stop with this tweet that I'm going to talk about in this video, and I feel like it is so deep because it not just shows how somebody working in the games journalism is feeling right now, but if you dig deeper into it, it kind of exposes the mask slipping, how they really feel about the reality, and how they feel owed the privilege to be covering games news, and hack YouTubers are invading their space for it. And I gotta be honest, I take some serious issue with this one. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article breaking down how the mask is slipping off video game journalists in the video game industry. We are seeing the real, true human being underneath, and it is not pretty at all. First off, before I even go further in this, what is the deal with the nose rings? Please, somebody give me a heads up why all these weirdos have the double nostril, looks like a pig nose ring on them in the industry. It's like some secret cult that I wasn't aware of. I used to just be like, whatever, it's their choice to do whatever they want. But then you start seeing a lot of people doing it. And it's just like, man, it's weird how they all just want to act and be the same to have this weird groupthink. I don't know. I don't want to distract from the actual topic here. Just something I noticed with this. Anyways, let me jump right into this tweet because holy crap, it knocked my socks off. First off, let's start it with the originator, Jeffrey Rousseau, who used to work at GameIndustry.biz. Fun fact, they blocked me on Twitter because I dared question one of their articles and if they had any information regarding how DEI might be impacting them. They weren't a big fan of that and I got blocked. Funny how that works. And anyway, Jeffrey Rousseau said, "Hello folks, I've unfortunately have been laid off from Game Industry Biz. I'm fine, really. I'm open to new opportunities. If you require the skills of an award-winning reporter/journalist with a focus on marginalized voices and business-to-business writing, please consider me. I'd appreciate it." And looking further into Jeffrey's profile, of course that's the banner. Of course it is. I mean, here's the thing. I almost feel like the world has become so bloated with things that are just superfluous, that are not really that important when it comes to making money and capitalism and all these things that have been going on because things were going good for so well that people started inventing careers that really didn't need to be there. And now we're seeing the repercussions of that when times start getting tough and consolidation in the industry happens. Jeffrey continued, "While I like games journalism, I'd welcome bringing my skills to different publications. Thank you in advance, and yes, I'm good. I got a support network and good friends." So that tweet right there tells me he never really cared about video games. He cared about pushing an agenda based off of marginalized voices and business to business. I look at this as an absolute win, getting rid of someone like this in the video games industry. Personally, I never like to see anyone lose their job, but if you're doing something that really isn't making an impact, and if anything might be making things harder on everyone else, marginalized voices, it inherently offers your opinion and forces your opinion on narratives and sometimes could marginalize other people because you're forcing an agenda for what you're covering. But I digress. That's not even the focus of this. That's like, he's frustrated, he lost his job, and he doesn't even care about the video game industry. Good luck to you, Jeffrey. I hope you land on your feet where you're actually happy. But what really caught me off guard was this response tweet from Cecilia D'Anastasio. She said, "Jeffrey has quickly become my go-to source for fast, business-focused game news. Absolutely wild decision from GI Biz new owner IGN. Was also shocked to see they laid off Brendan Sinclair, whose games, businesses, analysis, and features are appointment reading." And for those of you who missed it, I covered it in a previous video. IGN's parent company, Ziff Davis, just purchased a massive amount of video game news websites out there yesterday. and it made a huge splash across the board with tons of redundancies leading to layoffs in the industry. And because of that, a lot of people that thought they were safe because they were talking about marginalized people in the industry and talking about the agenda they wanted to push find themselves out of a job. And she isn't having it. She's not happy about this. And she continued with a tweet that blew my mind. I can't believe she actually put these words together. A strong games press is especially important as the lines blur between gaming and social media big tech. There are so effing many stories to write. These senseless layoffs are especially painful as reactionary YouTubers with no journalism training eat away at journalism's mindshare. Holy shit. She actually put those words together in full display, exposing what amounts to jealousy. Like, she is jealous. You can try to split the hair a million different ways on what you want to call it, but this, at the end of the day, is pure, uncut jealousy. She gives the implicit assumption that trained journalists hold a unique privilege to discussing gaming news for some reason, as opposed to people that like video games and can turn a camera on and talk to it shouldn't be able to do that because they're getting the eyeballs away from people that went to school for journalism, ergo, YouTubers are the bad guys. I mean, you can't even make this stuff up. This is... They're so blown away by what's transpiring right now, and they have zero business acumen. They don't understand the industry whatsoever and have been assumed to just be successful because they went to school and got a diploma for something and got hired by a big company that they should just ergo make money forever no matter what they talk about, without actually putting the effort into gathering an audience and having people care about what you want to say in the first place. This legit made me spit out my drink when I first read it. Her perspective ignores the reality that being interesting and engaging is not solely the domain of trained journalists. I quote tweeted her, summing it up as best I could, saying, "They hate that they're being beat at their own game. You and your buddies do not own a unique privilege to talk to others about what's going on. Stop it. The free market decides if you're worth their time. Sorry for those who lost their job, but this take ain't it." Journos out there pretending they didn't have jobs forcing them to be interesting because they sucked at being interesting. Come on now! Imagine writing this with a straight face. I can't even with these entitled psychopaths. Layoffs are especially painful as reactionary YouTubers with no journalism training eat away at journalism's mindshare. And I ended it saying, the more I think about this, the more it feels like a major mask slip moment. The real secret behind the scenes driving a Gamergate 2 narrative. It's not Sweet Baby Inc. or anything DEI. It never was. It's all a smokescreen, lashing out in a desperate attempt to catch hold of anything as their fall from grace becomes unrecoverable. The real evil. Journalists who have been losing their jobs were not providing a compelling content needed to retain an audience. They weren't actually covering the games. They were more focused on an agenda, on marginalized voices, on people in the community that don't get their voices out there, instead of, I don't know, talking about how some games coming out right now are beyond awesome, blowing the minds of what used to be possible and now transcending into a world that we could have never imagined in our wildest dreams. No, we can't be happy with that. We need to focus on problems in the industry, tiny little voices that aren't being heard, people that aren't getting their DEI injected into a game because they need to be represented. Representation matters in games. That's what really matters, not the game itself, not fun, but representation. It's pretty straightforward what I'm getting at here. The more I examine her mindset, the clearer it became that there's a significant mask slip moment here. The frustration and blame directed towards YouTubers reveals a far deeper fear, the irreversible decline of traditional journalism's influence. It scares the shit out of them. Of all the years studying, paying for their education, getting their diploma, forming alliances, and gatekeeping gamers out of it for decades, the reality of someone who just likes video games and can turn a camera on and talk about what they enjoy is beating them is so hard for them to swallow that they decide to lash out and blame others instead of taking accountability. And in a way, it's kind of poetic, wouldn't you say? But here's the thing. Her narrative of reactionary YouTubers eroding journalism's mindshare may actually just be a smokescreen to a much bigger picture. The real issue might lie in the inability of traditional journalists to adapt to a changing landscape, lashing out at successful content creators in a desperate last attempt grasp to gain any relevance and control in the industry that has moved beyond their control, and they don't know how to handle it. For the longest time, I was looking at Gamergate 2 being potentially how Sweet Baby Inc. was being discovered and how the DEI being injected into the games and the fight from the journalists and pushing that agenda was Gamergate 2. But the more I look at this, the more I'm like, no, I think Gamergate 2 actually is the journalists realizing that they're not needed. Everything they've worked for in their life, the effort they put into getting those degrees and getting hired at these big Fortune 500 companies just to be fired later on because they're not important enough to pay attention to is revealing a really startling truth to them that they can't handle. And the jealousy is eating away at them. Being able to write these words, putting them together, is so insane to me that I just can't make sense of it. The proverbial meteor has hit, and it's currently wiping out all the dinosaurs in the industry with a dark cloud of social media influence. But not before one final screech from them into the abyss. Those are my feelings on what's transpired right now, and holy crap, I couldn't. I wrote this whole long diatribe about how these journalists don't understand how the system works. They just think they're entitled to, when they put words on paper, that they'll just be read by people and they'll be paid lots of money because they put words down. That's not how it works. You need to have information, care, passion, something tangible that ties you to this world, not just doing it for a paycheck. And right there, I think, is the difference. There's so many YouTubers out there barely making anything. And they are doing this driven not by money, not even by the future potential of income, but by pure, uncut passion. And no jealousy is involved with it. They are literally turning their camera on, talking to an audience just like I do, because I love the feedback from the community. I love pushing the conversation into a better place. I feel like that's better for the entire video game industry at large. Which reminds me, if you didn't already, check out my petition to end Kotaku to make video game industry discussions great again. Getting rid of the agendas, the narratives, the forced ideologies from these propaganda-driven activists. People that aren't gamers. People that don't give a shit about a video game, that are getting paid by video game companies to talk about the video games, is not good for anyone. And I don't want to paint a broad brush across all journalists out there. There are some great journalists that I've talked about in plenty of other videos in the past. Not all of them are horrific people pushing agendas like Alyssa Mercante. Many of them out there do good work. And those are the people that still most likely have a job because the passion bleeds through the pen when they write it. People care about what they have to say because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article with all the information, links, screenshots, and tweets that I referenced in this video. And again, check out the End Kotaku petition on change.org. I will link that in the description below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing. Smash